happen no more. And also just to see, like, updating everybody what's been going on in Austin and Cincinnati. We can start with Austin first, because I think Austin was the worst one. So as of now, based on multiple different sources, in Austin, Texas, there was a mass shooting that 3 are dead, including the suspect, and 14 injured. Today, Sunday, the 1st of March. And let's see if they have any updates on the shooting, shooter itself.
Were killed, 14 injured. Police say officers shot and killed the suspected gunman
Where's
just
the
after
sound?
2 a.m. this morning. Now, we are going to bring you a live.
Dragon Slayer 666. What you talking about? Good day, Taylor. How you been?
Live press conference from officials at Austin Police Headquarters.
Can you hear this?
To bring us the
I can't hear
latest
it.
on this shooting and what they have learned since they last spoke at about.
There's something wrong with my earbuds. Hopefully they're not dead.
5 a.m.
Before we get to that, Tony, what can you tell us about the suspected gunman?
The big question right now is who this person is, number one, but
Well,
also
I can't hear it.
We know that the joint terrorism.
One up, Annaliesa. So 3 people died and 14 people have been hospitalized in a shooting on West 6th Street in Austin early Sunday morning. The suspect, who's included in the number of dead, was killed by Austin police officers responding to the shooting. The shooting happened at Buford's, a bar on West 6th and Rio Grande Street, said Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis at 5 a.m. press conference. America's falling apart. This is my first time hearing about it. It's not the only mass shooting in the United States today. Like, there was also a mass shooting in Cincinnati. So there was 2 mass shootings today in the United States. Yes. So one in Austin, Texas, and one in Cincinnati. Please Google Dragon Slayer 666. Oh my god. I don't know who the fuck this is. I don't know who this is. What up, Jeremy? Every day I wake up to more depressing news. That is been 2026 and it was kind of on 2025 as well. Looks like you. I mean, he has long hair and he has glasses, so we have some characteristics that we share. Lockridge said there were a total of 17 patients on the scene. 3 were pronounced dead on scene, including the suspect. Of the 14 people taken to the hospital, 3 were in critical condition. I'm very thankful for the speed which for public safety officials responded to this. I don't think there are any questions that it saved life, Mayor Kirk Watson said. Officials didn't share information on the identity of the suspect at the press conference. Let's see if we can see some updates on the suspect itself. Hi everyone from California. What do you think? What will be the end result of this war? Depends who's the next leader. It kind of like boils down to like who's the next leader of Iran. Missouri here. Oh, Canada, sorry. I just suspected immediately that it's California. Sorry about that. There are some I mean, I can't use Valentina Gomez as a reliable source, considering Valentina Gomez is one of the most horrible people coming from Austin, Texas. So I can't use Valentina Gomez as a reliable source of information. If you don't know who Valentina Gomez is, consider yourself lucky. She's literally one of the worst. Now I should have ears again.
Some task force
There we go.
has
I
been
can hear again.
mobilized and is joining this
Sergeant of Arms and
investigation,
Arrest
this
Our
investigation,
Administration.
and the involvement of law enforcement now stretching from here in Austin all the way up to Washington, D.C., where officials in the federal government are being briefed on this as well. The big question, though, again, is whether or not this person acted alone or whether or not the gunman may be connected to any sort of group. But what we know is that law enforcement and Austin police, very preliminarily this morning, once they were on.
Let's see if I can find some information for you guys. That if there's any info, like that's why I don't really want to speculate about the shooter, because there's an investigation going on and they will update once there's something to update.
Home this morning with at least 3 people killed in an overnight shooting in Austin, Texas. Police were called to the scene just after 2 o'clock in the morning local.
All right, I found something. The gunman killed after opening fire on patrons outside an Austin bar early Sunday, killing 2 people and injuring 14 others. Has been identified as a 53-year-old Senegalese man. Sources familiar with the investigation told the NBC News. 4 sources familiar with the investigation identified the suspect as a Niaga Diagne to NBC News. Diagne is a 53-year-old naturalized citizen from Senegal who was in the USA for 15 years. At one point, he put his flashers on, pulled down his window, and began using a pistol, shooting out of his car window, striking patrons of the bar that were on the patio and out in the front of the bar. The suspect then parked the car and walked out with a rifle, shooting some people who were walking by. As he walked along West 6th Street, Davis said. He was shot and killed by officers at the time. At that time, the chief said. Texas officials had not yet identified the suspect. Okay, so people who are familiar with the investigation has said that this person is the suspect, but Texas officials hasn't said anything yet. So investigators are trying to determine whether or not the shooting was the result of an act of terrorism or an individual with mental illness. 4 people briefed on the matter told NBC News. Those people emphasized that the investigation is in its preliminary stages and information can change. At this point, I wouldn't trust any news coming out of the United States. I mean, that's why usually when we really want to like wait until we get the confirmation from like multiple different, just like yesterday we did with Ayatollah. Just like yesterday we did with Ayatollah, like we got the first information from Israel and United States, and then Iran declined it originally. So there was like conflicting information, so needed to wait until Iran admitted that Ayatollah is dead. Because after they admit he's dead, like the conversation kind of ends there, you know? The conversation doesn't go anywhere, so Ayatollah is dead. There's so much misinformation going on, and also there's like people not trying to be accurate, they're trying to be first. That's the bit of an issue worldwide, and has been ever since like the 2000s. Is like news necessarily isn't about being correct, it's being first. So you get clicks, you make money. The same applies for social media. Like if you go to Twitter or somewhere, like the most followed social media influencers usually put out the first thing they see, and sometimes it's not correct, sometimes it might be right, but they need to be first in order to get the most clicks. Speculation pretty bad misinformation, I see. I see how you blocked out his shirt. It was an Iranian flag with Allah on it. They know, yes, he's not a suspect being from America. No, that's not actually what was like said. And then again, like the Texas officials hasn't said anything yet. So what up, Cap for Life? What's BBC News on TikTok? The US is screeching what we are seeing. Eric, that's the issue. For example, I can see a shirt here that doesn't have an Iranian flag. I don't know if this is truthful, but this will immediately contradict what you say. But I'm not taking this as guaranteed until the Texas officials say something. This is the issue, like, you see the first thing that goes in line with your views or your ideology, and you just run with that. Let's wait until the investigation is done, and let's wait until the officials come out and tell us what needs to be told, you know? Before that, everything's speculation. Correct, we need confirmation. Fact-checking is important. Fact-checking is so fucking important. And that's why there are a lot of, like, idiots in power at the moment, because people don't fact-check them. Mr. Rouse, thanks for the follow. Wait, there's more. You have gorgeous arms. I mean, they are like, they're thin as fuck, though. I need to go to the gym. There's breaking news, some more from Washington, D.C. Let's see if this is actually true before I even tell this to you. Let's see if this is true before I... safe choices. Okay, that's because the first thing I saw from that was like there's a stabbing in Washington, D.C., but I want to check if that's true before. What's the breaking news? 2 mass shootings in the United States. That's the breaking news at the moment. Who said BBC News is telling the truth? I didn't say. BBC is always telling the news, the truth. Maybe only Russian agency is telling the truth. I would, like, no offense. I can agree, and I also know that BBC and a lot of news agencies don't tell always the truth. They try to be first. But I can tell you one thing. You should never trust anything coming out of the Russian news agencies, especially if it comes directly from Kremlin. Ben, that is true. Super bad news, and like, I'm just broken every time there's lives lost anywhere. Thanks for the roses. Bobnov, thanks for the hardest ball. Oh, cool, you actually fact check. I mean, because we're talking about devastating news, so I kind of want to see first if that's actually true. Because I can't find anything that verifies that the traffic... All right, so this is a developing story. I found one. And I'll try and find another one so we actually have something. Okay, so one report of a mass stabbing happening just a few minutes ago. Just curious, have you ever read any news from Russia? I have. No. I'm Finnish. So I know the disinformation that Russia spreads, Stellan. Who dug up Aussie? I never left. Motto Benjamin, thanks for following. I'm Finnish, so throughout my life, I've seen Russian disinformation. All the fucking time. If there's any Finns in the chat today, you also know. And in my line of work back in Finland, I had to deal with that. All right, so I found 2 sources of news saying that a few minutes ago there was mass stabbing reported near Washington, D.C. But I'm waiting until I find something else because there apparently is 4 victims, 2 sustained critical life-threatening injuries. I actually found that there's a traffic alert in the same... Police activity shuts down Beltway on I-495 in Fairfax County. So that matches the road. Yeah, a midday collision on southbound Interstate 495 near Little River Turnpike in Annandale. Well, that's Virginia. But that could be interpreted like close to Washington, D.C., I guess. Yeah, that's also Virginia. Fairfax County. Yeah, okay. So now I can actually like talk about it. So there was a mass stabbing again, also in Fairfax, Virginia, near Washington, D.C. And at the moment, the information, because this is literally happening while we're on live. This is literally happening live. So as of now, there are 4 stabbing victims, 2 sustained critical life-threatening injuries. 1 was treated for serious but non-life-threatening wounds, and 4th received CPR at the scene. All were transported to the nearby hospitals. No fatalities had been confirmed as of initial reports. Authorities described a rapid emergency response with police and fire rescue units arriving en masse to triage victims and secure the scene. Southbound lanes near Little River Turnpike were blocked for several hours, causing significant traffic backups, which we can actually see from the traffic alert for that specific highway and that specific intersection. So those two match, and this is fact-checking. Probably a foreigner because real Americans uses guns. I mean, in the Texas shooting, that was a U.S. citizens. But then again, like, unlike you guys who want to differentiate whether they're U.S. citizens or they're not U.S. citizens, they're killers, in my eyes. Boss Lady, thanks for the follow. Where did this happen? Now, this is Fairfax County, Virginia. Teetering on the edge of World War III, not really exaggerating. Who exactly take the shot, Israel or US? What are we talking about? I'm talking about the mass shootings and happening in the US, and now a mass stabbing happening in the US. Hello from LA. What up, Guguzela? So, in Austin, Texas, are you embarrassed? I'm not embarrassed. In Austin, Texas, there was a mass shooting. 3 dead, 14 hospitalized. One of the 3 was the suspect itself. In Cincinnati, there was a mass shooting as well. 9 is injured. But none is, at the moment, killed. Let me see the most up-to-date information from Cincinnati. What are these 2-day-old BS news? Recent past, no, past hour, thank you. 9 injured in mass shooting in Riverfront, live in Cincinnati East. So now 9 people injured in Cincinnati, 1 in critical condition. 3 dead and 40 hospitalized in Austin, Texas, and now 4 stabbed in Washington, D.C. That's a sad day in the United States. Yes, my city, Austin. Where was the mass stabbing? The mass stabbing was Virginia. And it was southbound Interstate 495 near Little River Turnpike in Annandale, Virginia. USA news coming to you from somewhere that not on the USA. Baiting, that's kind of funny because already a lot of people said that they haven't heard this. What was the reason for the stabbing? Religion ICE? It literally, LM happened like 5 minutes ago. So we don't know yet. The timing of it all, we have to stay vigilant. Feelings, whoa, feelings. Baitings, I mean, again, like, you can draw how much you want to, but we got up-to-date news that I provided to you that actually literally no one else could have seen unless you were watching this live. Like now. Pat Hot Rod, thanks for the follow, and Carmia Sandio, thanks for the follow as well. I live in New York City, not going nowhere near Manhattan. Dano, thanks for the follow as well. Texas was terror. There's no official announcement from the Texas officials of the motive or anything related to the shooter itself, so we need to wait on that one. Chacha, thanks for the follow as well. I'm in South Texas. Please keep on sharing the news because we are not getting it here. This is exactly the reason. Like, even though baiting shrimps is kind of butthurt that I'm talking about the USA outside of USA, because I follow global news, so I might hear something that people in the United States can't hear, because of course there's major things happening that are blocking all of these quote unquote smaller things, even though they are not smaller things in my opinion, because people are dying. Fair Rider Patriot, thanks for the follow. Miktas Vel Pikanamar, thanks for the follow, and Shannon as well. Addy, Archibald, thanks for the follow again. So your channel anyways can do what you want. That is true. Carmen, thanks for the follow as well. Gypsy Chess, Jury, thanks for the follow. Republic is on the media here. I think it's a bit of a mix of both. Although, like, there's a bit more billionaires owning the media at the moment, so. But it is the media's job to, like, report the things that click the most. So that's, for example, why Iran is in the news a lot, because everybody's following the situation, me included. But I have sources that found smaller news that doesn't break the media barrier. You can't handle what your own country is doing. I can. Like, what the fuck are you baiting shrimp doing? You're like literally a toddler screaming here. So how about you go and get the fuck out? It's epic days. Israel is helping the US in big objectives such as world domination. Trump now has a supply of fresh meat to make America sausages and burgers from his own army. Okay. That's a bit of a more drastic take than I would have. What did I miss? Okay, a bit of an update for those who joined. So we have a mass shooting in Austin, Texas. We had a mass shooting in Cincinnati. And we have a mass stabbing in Virginia. Why do you care? You're an American. People are dying. BJK. Happy, thanks for the follow. Like, what the fuck? People are dying. So why are you asking, why do I care? My care for human life doesn't end on my own border. It doesn't end on my driveway. People in Iran are also, what's your point? Exactly. That's why I was on the side of Iran protesters. I'm all for revolution. That's why I feel bad for Palestinians. And I'm talking about Palestine a lot of the time, of the genocide that Israel is doing. I was also on the side of Bangladesh youth when their former prime minister decided to kill 1,500 Bangladeshi students. I am on the fucking side of don't kill humans. 3 Americans lost, why aren't you talking? Because we're talking about the mass shootings at the moment. We haven't got to the Iran war yet. Do you support revolution in Iran? Fuck yeah. You have an evil regime that's oppressed the people for decades. Fuck yeah, I am on the side of revolution. I'm also rooting for the Russian people to do a revolution because they're kind of on the same thing at the moment. Any updates about Iran after the formation of the Leadership Council? What about the children in the school that were hurt by Trump's bombs? I talked about it yesterday. If IDF is responsible for it, which is looking like it's IDF is responsible, that is exactly what IDF does. Because IDF doesn't give a fuck about children, and they don't give a fuck about women, and they don't give a fuck about civilians. IDF has killed tens of thousands of women and children in Gaza. You think they give a fuck about Iranian children dying in a girls' school? So I wouldn't be surprised if IDF is behind it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Iran's regime is behind it, because they are also willing to kill their own people. Fuck. Yeah, we saw live yesterday. We saw live yesterday when the numbers were going higher and higher on the girls' school death total. And I was literally covering it live yesterday. Stellar, and thanks for the follow. When I started my live yesterday, the death total was like 20. When I ended my stream yesterday, the death total was 80. Then when I came back later, the death total was already over 100. Freddy, thanks for the follow. Don't block rage baiters, they will attract viewers. I only block those, they're not necessarily rage baiters, but those who don't actually like provide anything to the conversation. Here, Lindsey Graham, he says, sacrifice your life, it's noble. Nobody should listen to Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham goes to visit his good buddy Netanyahu for talking points. Then he comes to the United States providing those talking points to Trump. Nobody should listen to Lindsey Graham. He's one of the worst warmongers you can find. I don't think anyone should die for their opinion. Actions like Ayatollah is another thing. Old Norseman, I don't want to burst the bubble, but that is not confirmed that it was an Iranian missile, though. What a Lamar Passmore. Psychopaths are incapable of caring, that is true. Hi, greetings to you. What kind of values do you feel about the Western portable democracy of human... What? Some studies suggest an increase of mass shootings related to government actions regardless of party. Was it true about the over 500 US killed? You need to listen to someone to get a haircut. I don't. Like, I like my hair. And a lot of people like my hair. And a lot of people are jealous of my hair, so I'm gonna keep my hair until I go bald, you know? Have the rest of supporters revolted yet? No. Trump and Bibi took out the modern day Hitler. Divide and conquer at the end of the day, simple as that. Your hair is fantastic. I would use the term majestic as fuck. But yeah. Report on something, please, since you're up on international news. Yes, we were talking about the mass shootings in the United States. And again, for those who just joined, there has been 3 mass tragedies in the United States within this day. So there was mass shooting in Texas, Austin, Texas, 3 dead and 14 hospitalized. There was a mass shooting in Cincinnati, 9 people injured in Cincinnati. And now, literally, a few minutes ago, I reported that there was a mass stabbing in Virginia, and 4 people are injured. 2 of them had minor injuries. One of them was in critical condition. No, two were in critical condition. One was treated for serious but non-life-threatening wounds, and 4th one received CPR at the scene. Let's see if we can find more information about the Virginia mass stabbing. So, this is the topic before we jump into Iran. Miss Kitty, thanks for the follow, Adam, as well. Where in Virginia? It is in... Just a second. Southbound Interstate 495 near Little River Turnpike in Annandale, Virginia. Were the mass shootings related to Iran? We don't know yet. All of those 3, all 3 happened today. So all 3 mass tragedies in the United States happened today. So Austin, Texas mass shooting, Cincinnati mass shooting, and Virginia mass stabbing. That's Northern Virginia. Is it? It just says Virginia. Let's see if we can find more. None of the major news outlets have gotten that yet. I found another one, but this is not a major news station. Virginia State Police shot a suspect Sunday evening after a horrific mass stabbing on the Capitol Beltway. The violence broke out on the outer loop of I-495 near Little River Turnpike in Annandale, Virginia. So it's the same thing. Happy day, thanks for the follow, and Jolly River as well. I just think about the poor people globally that don't get their stories heard. And US is a huge country with huge population. That kind of things happens a lot. I don't think that's a proper excuse for things like this to happen. You know, of course there is a lot of people there. True, that is 100% true. But at some point we would wish our society would be in a place that, for example, people who have mental illnesses, which are the majority that are committing the mass shootings in the United States, that they could get the help that they needed. And therefore, like, there's another topic that we might want to have another conversation, which is about guns again. But I would say the mental health aid would be the number one. And considering what sort of a taboo it is still in the United States, and also that the government doesn't really give a fuck about mental health. The stress and toxic foods rain snow, it's all be designed. Nah, that's borderline conspiracy theories right there. Barbara Kiernan, thanks for the follow. Something tells me they're just getting started, unfortunately. I hope they're not. I hope, like, mass shootings and school shootings and, like, just mass tragedies. But like I said yesterday, was the stabber also Muslim? We don't know anything about the stabber because the stabber literally happened less than 10 minutes ago. So we don't know anything yet about that. Also, the Austin shooting, we haven't received any information about from the Texas officials. We haven't received any information of like, oh, FBI is now investigating the Austin mass shooter. So I guess we're gonna have to wait a bit more because Cash Patel is super fucking slow with this. A lot of current unrest is designed, but rain snow a bit silly. Like I said yesterday, and there was a lot of people who disagree with me, we have to remember that what's happening in Iran might actually cause issues in the United States, which I don't think the leaders of the United States really thought about. But according to Mossad and according to the United States intelligence agency, that Iran actually has terror cells in the United States and also in Europe. So, and this is coming from Mossad and the United States intelligence agency. So there's a risk of like real terror, like a retaliation from the Ayatollah killing. But when they want, they takes to all. The Austin shooter war property of Allah. What's that about? Roxo, I saw the picture as well, but until I hear from something from the officials of Texas, or in this case FBI, I'm not going to speculate on that. I saw that picture as well. Diana D, thanks for the follow. False flag. I mean, I don't think it's a false flag. I think it's just like unfortunate that there's so many big news going on at the moment that people that are dying aren't getting the attention that they should get. This one dude is calling me left because he doesn't understand facts. Who is? Oh, so many more now. He brought the violence to America. Trump placed US in the US grave danger. I mean, that's the reason why they increased the military budget. Like, they are causing a lot of countries to have an animosity towards the United States by being the world police and, you know, attacking countries, doing regime changes. So they are technically justifying their increasement of 500 billion to the military budget by, well, participating in those forever wars again in the Middle East. Damon, thanks for the follow. Ben, thanks for the roses as well. UN, especially when he gets no congressional approval, agreed no deaths or warrant, ignoring that threats are an option too. But this is like the issue. Like people are saying that, oh, that person was a Muslim, or that person was black, or that person was white. I don't really give a fuck about your ethnicity, your religious background, or your skin color, or your sexual orientation. You're a killer. They're all the same. You can make those divisions in your head. If you can like divide people like that if you want to, but at the end of the day, we're all the same, regardless of the color of our skin or sexual orientation or whatever religion we believe in. So if you want to make that like distinction of the shooter, go for it. I think more important would be to find out if they are a part of a bigger terror cell, or what was the motive, and so forth. If it's again mental illness, maybe the government of the United States should take mental illness more seriously than it's taking at the moment. And I'm not talking about bringing back insane asylums. That is not a proper way of treating mental illnesses. There's enough scientific studies when it comes to that. It's all distraction away from the Epstein files. It's just like the Epstein war that we're having. But it give possibility to that. I'm guessing they were all motivated by that. 1.5 trillion military bloated and annual budget is insane. USA really wouldn't need a huge military budget if it didn't try and make an enemy of everybody. Answer my question before asking mental institution. What? What was your question? I can see your question. You can ask it again. I'll try and find it because there's a lot of comments at the same time and I'm not watching the chat all the time when I'm talking. Ritualistic attack marches 84 elementary school girls and 20 moving volleyball players. Yes, I've been listening and you're right. It's all about the files. Exactly the Epstein war. Dems were talking about subpoenas for their hero. That statement made me join the chat. I think somebody used it yesterday. Called it, I think, I don't remember who it was, but somebody called it the Epstein wars. And it, like 5 years in the future now, this period of time is going to be referred as to Epstein wars. They're trying to sacrifice as many as they can to maintain power. Let's hope Iran doesn't hit US again. True Fate New York, thanks for the follow. They are running another generation of young men and women who they won't support when they return. Genie, thanks for the follow. People who can't grow hair are jealous of those who can. Oh, sorry, who can. Laurie, thanks for the follow as well. All right, let's take our update run. So let's go to Austin, Texas first. And we know that Austin, Texas is now being looked over by the FBI. So I think we are getting updates after the FBI is looking into it. And not before that. FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force is investigating mass shooting at Austin bar. So it's going to be probably a while until FBI informs us. Okay, now more and more people have been awakened to the mass stabbing in Virginia. So FBI, according to random Twitter users, is suspecting of terrorist intentions in Austin. I don't believe in random Twitter users though. Hey bro, just joined. Are you pro or against Iran military action? What? Ayatollah is dead. That's a good thing. Bad thing. The next one is gonna take his place, and shit's gonna continue. Unless USA and Israel decides to do the good old-fashioned Iraq regime change, and unfortunately, we know from history that doesn't work. So Did you see the guy who just off himself in Iran talking about their life there? I didn't actually see that. I'm new here, please fill me in. All right, again, recap of what's been going on. Austin had a mass shooting, 3 killed, 14 injured. Cincinnati had a mass shooting, 9 people killed. And Virginia, near Washington, D.C., there was a mass stabbing of 4 people were stabbed. So that's our Sunday. Liberals are more dangerous than the Taliban. What a delusional person that is. What are some of your news sources? There's multiple, but I picked the 3 that was easiest to update. So I read the Virginia thing is kind of hard because it's not in the major news at the moment. So I found the traffic alert that police were in I-495 in Fairfax County. And then I found 2 news sources that linked to that same highway, the 495 near Little River Turnpike in Annandale, Virginia. So I cross-referenced those 2. And that made me find out that the Virginia stabbing is real. Then there were like 20 news outlets about the Austin stabbings. So I just took for my stream, like for reference, I have the Houston Public Media, and then I have NBC here, and then I had another one somewhere here. Oh yeah, Sky News. And it's nothing to do like believing one source or anything like that. They are just for reference to see if they're in line with the information. Then we have the Cincinnati. We have Cleveland.com, and then we have Fox News reporting about Cincinnati. So yeah, there's quite a few different sources to look at. Because you don't really want to believe one news source, to be fair. Sleeper cells, I knew this was coming. Why didn't ICE find sleeper cells, wasting time on people who aren't criminals? Because Stephen Miller is just copying like his idols from the 1930s. Even though Stephen Miller isn't really in charge of the ICE, but Stephen Miller is kind of leading the United States at the moment when it comes to like immigrants. And all of Stephen Miller's like talking points and rhetoric is directly from the 1930s and 20s Germany. What else are you streaming on, guy? On TikTok and Twitch and Facebook, so quite a few different places. If you search, you see so many violent crimes. 4 people isn't even a lot. I mean, here's a bit of a different take on that, Damon. I think 1 people is like more than it should be. I think 1 is enough. In my opinion, I don't take count of, okay, if it's less than 7, I don't give a fuck. Or if it's less than 4, I don't give a fuck. If it's less than 1, I could actually say, I don't give a fuck. So if the victim count was 0, that's the ideal. If it's 1 or above 1, it's too many. Hey, Wall Street, thanks for the follow. This is MAGA mentality, host. What is MAGA mentality? Me wanting nobody to die. Yes, it's what I'm trying to say is we have a lot of crime we are used to it, but I agree with you. MAGA doesn't care about sexual assault. I do. I like... I'm not MAGA though. Like, okay. I thought you were calling me MAGA. I'm definitely not MAGA. You have no business speaking for US Americans or for our president. Your words mean nothing. Oh, Peggy. I've missed you. I think I've seen you before here spouting shit like that. Peggy, where have you been? Do you ever have guests to talk to? No, I don't really have any. Wasn't me. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was you. I can probably see it from your profile how many times you visited here. Come on, Peggy. Do you have alternative accounts that you stalk me with? Trump made this a world issue. You have every right to speak out. And I do, like, I don't care what Peggy or any of the, like, Americans, like, say or, like, think. I'm gonna keep talking about, like, topics that interest me and, like, I feel like are valuable to bring to surface, you know. Global issues, the Iran war, for example, and American issues like the mass shootings in the United States today and the mass stabbing. For example, Peggy, without, like, my investigation here, a lot of people in the chat didn't know that there's a mass stabbing going on, where there was a mass stabbing in Virginia. So, you know, you see, sometimes a stupid host from Ireland knows more about what's going on in the USA because I look it differently. Sometimes a stupid person from Europe might know something more. So I would recommend listening from time to time. Not all the time, definitely. I get things I get things wrong from time to time. But sometimes it's still a bit of a foggy situation. I don't know how much it's censored in the United States. That's one thing, because I don't see the news the same as you guys see the news. I was in Ireland a few months ago. Great people there. Nice and screen view. Nice and screen view. Awesome. Deadly Texas bar shooting is potentially an act of terrorism. FPS says yes, 100%. Nice, I didn't know you were on Twitch. I can fucking swear. Not our fake news that the government be controlled lately. Onko tää suomalainen? Our news is greatly censored. I wonder if it's censorship or is it just like supply and demand, you know? Because in the United States, it's so corporate BS when it comes to news that even news outlets needs to make maximum amount of money all the time. So if the news doesn't kick off immediately, they might just scrap it all together, you know? Why is Elon mad about EU but not China video? I know why Elon is mad about EU but not China. Does anybody else know? BNOL, thanks for the follow. Okay, this is a good one. Does anybody know why Elon doesn't talk shit about China? Well, Shanghai has the gigafactory for Tesla. It would hurt quite a lot if Elon talked shit about China's censorship. That would literally tank Tesla stocks. The biggest manufacturing factory, the biggest factory of Tesla is in Shanghai, China. And anyone who knows China, if you want to do business in China or have a factory there, the government owns a portion. Well, the company needs to have a government representation in the company. So Elon needs to go in line with the Chinese Communist Party if he wants to have a factory in China. That's why Elon Musk is criticizing EU about like freedom of speech and censorship, but he keeps his mouth shut about China because he can't talk shit about China. Which is hilarious to see because none of his fanboys ever point that out. Elon can't really support China, the Chinese Communist Party's like politics if he wants to be a free speech advocate. He's still making money, true. But it is kind of hypocritical though, you know? That's why I don't really take that seriously what Elon Musk says. Because he's a fucking hypocrite and he just says what makes him the most money. That's why whenever people are like bending over backwards protecting Elon Musk from a backlash, I'm just having my time of my life laughing at it because they're literally simping for someone who is a walking, talking hypocrite. Sita, thanks for the follow. Why would anybody take what you have to say seriously? You know what they say about opinions. It's not an opinion. Remember that US TikTok has no freedom of speech like we have in Europe. Larry Ellison, the biggest the IDF donor ever. Individual. Oh wow, look who's so brave. Which part of Finland are you from? Uusimaa? I don't know what you do with that information, but yeah. So jealous. He has accomplished a lot. Elon has been using his technology to manipulate elections. So those who still believe like Elon Musk is a freedom of speech advocate or like, you guys kind of want to, I would recommend you go and see what happened in the Turkish elections, for example, or in India. These are, I'm throwing you countries that you want to investigate what Elon Musk did to freedom of speech. Like in Turkey, in India. What has he done in China? Nothing. But these, if you don't know about these, you don't know enough to have a conversation. But I can educate you. I can nudge you on the correct path to find out. In Turkey, everything was fair. Erdogan asked Elon Musk to censor the opposition during the election from Twitter, well, X. And Elon Musk did that. That is restricting freedom of speech, and that is also election interference. Oh, never heard about it. Yeah, Erdogan literally asked Elon Musk personally. And Elon Musk doesn't see anything bad about that. Because Elon Musk's... this is the best part. Elon Musk's argument for censoring the opposition in Turkey was like, if I didn't do that, they would have banned Twitter. But wait a second. He's criticizing EU for the same thing. Because EU is saying that you need to abide the Digital Service Act, the DSA, or we will ban you. But all of a sudden it's different. That kind of doesn't make sense if you think about it. The president of Turkey says that, hey, censor opposition or we will ban Twitter. And Elon is like, okay, I will censor free speech, otherwise Twitter will be banned from that country. But when EU does it, it's okay all of a sudden. Like, that's infringing freedom of speech. But Tesla has something in Turkey as well. And then we have the India incident, which is one of the stupidest things ever. The government of India asked Elon Musk to censor one BBC document, one BBC documentary from Twitter, from India, because it was critical of the Indian government. Again, free speech. And Elon Musk was like, hey, I'll do this, otherwise Twitter will be banned in India. But that's enough of Elon Musk. Like, we don't want to have our whole stream of like talking about Elon Musk. Why are they attacking Dubai? Because Dubai has military installations from the United States. They're not attacking Dubai per se, but Dubai is hosting United States, so I think Iran is attacking because of that. Biden had Facebook ban information. I know. I don't agree with that. Free speech. Uyghur are the groups use Twitter and Facebook. That's why banned. Let's talk about. We can have a discussion about Uyghur Muslims and the re-education camps that China has for them, and has had for them. We want to talk about the oppression of like people of Hong Kong who are critical of Chinese government. We can have a discussion of that as well. Free fucking Taiwan. We can throw that in as well. Elon can't say any of these. What was the documentary about in India? It was a documentary about the government of India, the corruption of the government of India. So it was a critical documentary about the government of India, the current sitting government of India back then. Pray to God that our paths never cross. Is that a... Jake White, is that a threat? That's a weird take. Why would you make that threat? Oh, right, it's uncomfortable for you to talk about Elon's rockets because it's against your narrative. Are you just an Elon fucking fanboy that is all of a sudden threatening a TikToker because I'm making fun of your God and Savior? Oh my fucking God, you are. You're an Elon fanboy that is butthurt because I'm making fun of your God and Savior, Elon Musk. Hey, Jake White, I'd recommend you to get out of that fucking cult. Holy fucking shit. He is Elon. Elon watches you. I wouldn't be surprised because Elon Musk also pretended to be his fucking son. That's what a psychopath would do. That's what a psychopath would do. You pretend to be your own fucking son. I recommend you watch your tongue, your privileged life. Oh, well, I hope you have another... Let's see, which one is it? Let's take that one. What are you going to do? Nothing but sit on your couch and pretend to be a victim. That's kind of a... Elon, please give me 220 million, please. I can comfort any of you any day. Jake White, I mean, how small of a man you are that you're simping for a billionaire that is literally a walking, talking hypocrite. That's sad. Let's go to Iran, though. Okay, what you do for a living? Jake White, none of your fucking business, though. You think I would tell you anything about me now that you have literally threatened me? Like, what the fuck? I will report you again, and I hope they find where you are and actually, like... Not afraid to say it. You're a big man, though. He's probably from Russia. Nah. I think he might be Elon himself. I think he's such a... I think he's Elon himself. Yeah, don't block him. Let him incriminate himself. I hope you're in Europe, actually. I don't think you're my neighbor, though. I can guarantee you're not my neighbor, though. I am Estonia. Well, then you're fucking wrong. You're not my neighbor. You don't even know where I live, though. That is so weak. Let's go and see what sort of a asshat this guy is. He has a samurai picture. Let's see what is. Well, you have like reposted some penguin videos. That's cool. Hey Jake, I don't really mean to be crude and I shouldn't say this, but I can see the gym video you have. So no offense, buddy, but I could literally bend you like a twig. So maybe you should like know your place and maybe seem just to Elon. Charlie Kirk, say no more. I know you ain't worth listening to if you support that clown. Let's try it. I mean, I also know that you had some mental illnesses, so I don't want to like bully you anymore. You just said that you were in Estonia. Estonia is not in Helsinki. Come on, Jake. Be consistent here. Feels like I've got to go back to TikTok for this tea I'm missing. You don't even know where I am, Jake. That's the issue. Like, I'm not in Finland. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Ignore him. I'll ignore him. I'll also, like... Just a second. I think it could be this one. There you go. It's sad that you don't necessarily have a TikTok account quite soon, but it's on you, so don't blame me about it. All right, let's go to Iran then. So let's see what's the latest and the greatest when we were talking about the mass shootings in the USA. Let's leave Jake White alone. Series of blasts heard over Jerusalem after Iranian missiles detected. Air raid sirens have sounded and explosions heard over West Jerusalem after the Israeli army said it detected missiles launched from Iran towards Israel. A short while ago, the Israeli military identified missiles launched from Iran to the territory of the State of Israel. So that's like literally 1 minute ago. Like Chris Jericho and Gordon Ramsay had a baby, thanks. 7 Iranian military commanders killed in air raids report. Iran's Tasnim news agency is reporting that 7 Iranian military commanders have been killed in air raids. The list of names including Bashir Major General Shahid Mohammad Shirazi, head of the Office of the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. The report also claims that Brigadier General Syed Saleh Azadi, Deputy for Intelligence of the General Staff of Armed Forces, was killed in strikes. Israeli army says now safe to leave shelters. The military home front command says it's possible for Israeli civilians to leave bomb shelters after hostile aircraft sirens were earlier heard during the latest Iranian missile strikes. I'm California. I'm asking what is going on. So we reported about there's things happening in the United States, but we also are now jumping into the Iran situation itself. People use mental illness as a cop out. Though my brother bullies me and then says his mental illness will be effective if he gets kicked out. All those MAGA need to get their kids signed up. Can someone explain what was the point of attacking Iran? Do I need to show the video again, guys? I think I need to show the best reason why Iran was attacked. If this is a warning, if you can't take a joke, you might want to look away for a brief moment. A lot of the regulars probably know what I'm gonna show, but just a second, I found it. So this is the reason why Iran was attacked. Once again.
Oh, Donald, why haven't you attacked Iran yet? If you don't attack soon, I will release the Epstein files.
Okay, BB, I'll do whatever you want.
Oh, Donald, why haven't you attacked Iran yet?
I love that. This isn't AI, by the way. So, does anyone have a confusion still, like why the US attacked Iran? I need to put that on my stream deck, like as a shortcut, so I can provide that anytime I need to. Trump says 48 leaders killed. Oh, I know that, but why Netanyahu wants that? They can't conquer it. I mean, Netanyahu has different priorities when it comes to Middle East. Some might be on the borderline of being conspiracy theories, but considering what we're seeing, it's getting more likely every freaking conflict that they have. But Netanyahu has his own agenda. Open with Google Chrome. There we go. So Neti said so. User, thanks for the follow. Ultimate installation as well. Should we be worried about sleeper cells in the United States? I would be. So you think 30,000 people being killed by their government was cause of Epstein? No, but Ayatollah's regime oppressing the Iranians like 10 years ago, Trump said that it's not a matter of USA. Of course, they ramped up the killings now, but it was because of the protest, though. But like Trump and MAGA has said for decades, up until like a few years ago, that Iran isn't really their thing. Even Tulsi Gabbard and others, they said that USA should have nothing to do with Iran. But something changed. Dendi, thanks for the follow. I would like be a bit of worried, like especially in the United States, after killing the Ayatollah, that there might be sleeper cells. Here are the death tolls. Here are the death tolls of the conflict at the moment. So in Israel, 9 killed and 121 injured. In Iraq, 2 killed and 5 injured. Kuwait, 1 killed, 32 injured. Bahrain, 4 injured. Qatar, 16 injured. United Arab Emirates, 3 killed, 58 injured. Oman, 5 injured. US service members, 3 killed, 5 injured. And in Iran, 201 killed and 447 injured. As of March, 3 o'clock today. So, not as much as we predicted in Friday. Teaspoon, thanks for the follow. There's no nuclear thing in Iran, though. Like, let's talk about the nuclear thing, because it was brought up. If you believe the nuclear capabilities, hakka päälle pohjanpoika. Thanks, Captain's Lock. Thanks for the 50 Swedish kroner. If you believe the possibility of nuclear weapons was the reason for it, then you would also agree that the Operation Midnight Hammer that Trump said that was successful last summer was a lie. Or maybe, just fucking maybe, once again they will lie about weapons of mass destruction to go and do a regime change. So maybe, just maybe, Israel has nuclear weapons. He lies daily. Israel does have nuclear weapons. How many? No one knows. Israel has not told anyone how many nuclear weapons they have. Bush did that. Yes, they did. And I'm pretty sure this is also kind of a Iraq 2.0. IRGC has been threatening Israel for 46 years. Threatening, not doing much. How many countries Iran has attacked in those 46 years? Like surrounding countries. Of course, you could argue that they used the Hezbollah and other terrorist proxies to do their bidding. But we're talking about countries attacking others. I'm not saying that Ayatollah's regime was fucking horrible. 100%. And they have threatened Israel for decades. That is also true. But they have not had any fucking nuclear weapons throughout that time. And using nuclear weapons as the excuse to go there is laughable. Because we don't let them have them. Yeah, and because the reason why we know that they don't have nuclear weapons is that USA attacked them. If they didn't have...
Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
If not stopped.
Sonny, thanks for the follow. Thing is, why do you think Iran would nuke the US? Probably because they are the aggravator. Iran doesn't have nukes. If they had nukes, they would have not attacked Iran. If Iran had nukes, they would have not attacked it. Because the best protection against superpowers and regime change and foreign countries attacking you is nuclear weapons. If you think about it, why the fuck is North Korea still a thing? Think about it. A Western liberal, you're being used by Islam. No. Think about it. Why is North Korea still a thing? You know why? Because they did it secretly. So now we don't know if they have it or not. Because nobody can fucking enter North Korea. But they allegedly have a nuclear weapon. So you can't really attack North Korea. Because you can't take the risk that they have it. But you can attack Iran because you know that they don't have a nuclear weapon. This is Iran updates. You're talking about that because it has nothing to do with Iran. Let the sun shine. Oh. We update once there's always updating. Police station near Tehran hit by strikes. People trapped under rubble. Iranian media reported a police station on the outskirts of Iran's capital has been hit in an attack, killing an unspecified number of people. Others remain trapped under debris of the destroyed building. This is 2 minutes ago. Following the enemy attack on the city of Ray, the Ray police headquarters building and nearby residential buildings were hit. According to the initial reports, a number of citizens were martyred and some were trapped under the rubble. Also, Iranian rocket hits Jerusalem. So yes, we are updating things that happen in the Iran, and also we're having a natural conversation whenever somebody asks something in the chat that deviates the conversation to something else. This is how this works. I bring up the topic. I'll read the chat. The conversation naturally goes somewhere, and then we go back and see the updates. Benjamin Netanyahu say Iraq have nuclear weapons. Same claim Benjamin say Iran have nuclear weapons. The oldest one gets, the more true the old Russian poetry becomes. Dark melancholy and existential, this is life. Especially if they have a leader like Trump who wanted to use nukes in the last administration. It's a movie. A lot of what they have are showing it's not true. I'm being respectful. Spent years traveling in Muslim countries. We all know who has nuclear weapons. This isn't boring update, and it's not a good update. What? What if nukes really don't exist? I mean, that would be a plot twist. What if nukes really don't exist? Today, Iran, Venezuela become a victim of their sovereignty in America in violation of international law. Tomorrow, who knows, our country will also have the same fate. I mean, it's gonna be after United States gets what it wants, which is the new regime would be more pro-Israel, and USA gets the oil from Iran. Then it's gonna be Cuba. Then it's gonna be Mexico. Then it's gonna be Colombia, Greenland. It's not going to stop. Anywhere from Russia and China. Well, Russia. Actually, yesterday we read it on live. Russia invoked the UN nuclear watchdog thingy. Just a second. Nuclear watchdog. Iran Monday. Yeah. So Russia was one of the countries that requested the nuclear watchdog of UN to meet on Monday about Iran. Which is, Russia is playing the nice guy all of a sudden. But that's because Russia likes Iran. They've done business for a long time. China has done the smart thing, which is shutting the fuck up because this has nothing to do with them. So China is just, ramping up points at the moment. They look like the rational business partner, which is wild because China is not the rational business partner. But at the moment, to a lot of countries around the world, Russia looks like a better business partner to be with than USA. Russia and China are friends, and so is USA and China, allegedly. China doesn't want to be next. Again, China is not gonna, USA is not gonna attack China. China has nuclear weapons. USA is not gonna attack Russia. Russia has nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons at the moment is the best deterrent when it comes to, potential attacks. Unfortunately, I'm a huge advocate for no one having nuclear weapons. I think no single fucking rational person, a leader of a country or a country, should have nuclear weapons. Nobody should possess means to destroy humanity. When they attacked Cuba, shut off internet and moved to a small island in the motherland. China manufactures everything for USA. Thanks, Reagan. Trump is being used by God creator. No nuclear weapons are anywhere to be found. Actually, Russia and China are not friends. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of the superpowers are real friends. They just like they just exist at the same time and do business with them, with each other. A lesson Oppenheimer learned too late. 100%. We should literally, I would hope that Russia, China, and the United States would have a leader one day, that every single one of them would sit on a table, on the same table, and agree that no one should have nukes, and stick with it. That should be the candidate that you would vote. Of course, like we know, Russia doesn't really have elections and China doesn't have elections, but that's a bit of an unfortunate thing because we literally have only one democracy that has elections that you can actually vote. But unfortunately, they are highly corrupt as well. So even though you can vote a candidate in the United States, all of the fucking candidates in the United States are corrupt as fuck, so they won't do that. What about Pakistan and India nukes? That is an interesting thing because they're attacking each other and both of them have nukes. Iran people are happy this is going on. I mean, there are people who are celebrating and there are people who are sad. That's how it goes. You know what's a healthy way of like looking how this pans out? Few years from now, the same like, because I was talking with my wife today. We were talking about, because a lot of people, for example, in Finland are saying that people in Iran are dancing and celebrating. Are we basing our judgment if this is successful, if people are dancing or not? Because in that case, that's a really bad way of measuring if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Because let's say, this is a hypothetical, I don't wish anything bad to happen to anyone, any of the names I'm gonna say next. But if Netanyahu dies, for example, Iran killing them or Netanyahu dies of cancer, there's gonna be millions of people celebrating. Do you share that same sentiment then? There are gonna be millions of Palestinians celebrating. There's also gonna be a bunch of Israelis as well, Jewish people around the world as well. Is that a good thing then? Well, if Trump dies, well, Trump is quite old, so Trump might die. I can tell you, there's half of the United States is going to be celebrating. And around the world, you can add another half. Is that a good thing then? So, if Iran's national army now assassinates Trump, and people are celebrating because Trump is dead, is that a good thing? You know, that's why whenever people are saying that, hey, a group of people are celebrating, it's a stupid argument. Because people were celebrating in Iraq when the United States attacked Iran. Those same people weren't celebrating 2 years after. There were people celebrating in Libya. The same people weren't celebrating 2 years after. You know? So instead of, like, 100% you can be happy that a ruthless dictator dies. You can be happy about it. But that doesn't mean things change. That doesn't mean it has the effect that you think it has. The effect we can see years from now, not now. Dancing and celebrating, sure, but very soon their world could be max. Exactly, like... I think, Florenzo, you didn't listen to anything I said. Power vacuum, anarchy, violence, 100%. At least they have hope, 100%. Like, it is a reason to be happy. But that is not a measurement if it's a good thing or a bad thing. What if the next leader, like there's a line of people who are as worse or even worse than the previous Ayatollah was? Happy in the moment. Exactly. So your thought is what? My thought is like, yeah, Ayatollah is dead. That's a good step to the next part. But there is a big gap between Ayatollah dying and the people being happy. Like, seriously, having things better than what was under Ayatollah's regime. That is years from now. Okay, and what? Again, if you measure, because if again, a lot of people think what Trump does is dangerous for the world. A lot of people think that around the world. So if Iran now assassinates Trump and people are celebrating, they are crying on the streets and they're celebrating and singing and dancing, that is justified then, right? So that would be justified, and you would also accept their happiness, right? Ride on Fun, for example. I wouldn't. I wouldn't give a fuck about it if people were dancing and celebrating if Trump died, because I know what happens next. Okay, Ride on Fun, so you're a hypocrite, so shut the fuck up. When a president says anthropy can't bid, how is this democracy and free markets? West always happy at death if someone. Last days, USA has short memory. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is not our first rodeo in the Middle East. People don't remember. You guys have way too short of a memory. It's not that, like, literally. It's just 2 decades. 2 decades ago. And anything between that. We've seen this happen. Hey, thanks for the hat and mustache. What? This behavior is not in line with our policies. Gifting is suspended in live. Reason. Reproduce content. What? That is bullshit. TikTok is censoring me. Fucking TikTok. Israel has good friends in US. Yeah, Larry Ellison immediately was like, yeah, you can't send to this fuckface any gifts. It can't be true. It is true. Literally. This is reused content, apparently. What just happened? You can't send any gifts for me now. Because TikTok deemed that what I'm doing at the moment is reused content. Even though I'm reading you news from like literally minutes ago, which are updating all the time. We're having a discussion on like current events that are happening. And even I don't know what we're going to discuss next. Change the topic for a bit. Do you want the gifts? I don't really need them because I have a 9-to-5 job. Swedish then. Censored. You say something bad about Jews? No, I didn't say anything about like any religion. I think it was my hypothetical game of killing world leaders. I think it's that. But they didn't limit my visibility. They just limited my the gifting. And the gifting isn't like, I don't really care about the gifting. Of course, I appreciate all the gifts you sent me, but the main thing I want to do is have a discussion with you guys, provide you information that you might not see. For example, the US stuff we talked about earlier. That isn't what is important. That's why you get the follow. I'm new subscribed, by the way. I'm from Malaysia. Hey, thanks to you, Sama. Ali's back, thanks for the follow. You're not on the screen. What? I'm not on the screen? I'm pretty sure I'm on the screen. I appreciate that because this administrator is going to try and control it. One person wrote that I'm not on the screen, and I was like, what? No. One thing that I hate. Okay, now that TikTok doesn't like me, I'll change the topic for a second. I'll talk about how bad TikTok has gotten. Previously, like last year, before Larry Ellison took over, I could literally show you the news I'm reading like this, and I would get no flags. I could show you imagery during my live. And now what I need to do is I need to have an internal counter of 5 seconds. If I show you guys anything more than 5 seconds, TikTok will limit my viewership instantly. So that's why, for example, when we're having this discussions, I'm really sad that I can't show you what we're talking about. Probably that Elon guy, that could be. That's why, for example, the viewers in YouTube and the viewers in Twitch has a better experience because they can actually see all the videos we watch, all the news we're talking about, all the updates live, what I search for, all the other information. How do you pronounce your name or handle? That's an interesting topic. Where we are on Twitch, I know that. Like, Alicia, which is my username, that is actually my wife's second name. Why do I use it? Because when we met with my wife 16 years ago, we're still together. About 16 years ago, a bit more. I used to hang around her apartment a lot, and she had a PlayStation 3 back then. So I played NHL and FIFA on her PlayStation, and I got shit talked by man who lost, from men who lost to me because I was really good in FIFA and also really good in NHL. So they were shit talking me because I had a female username. And then I would open my mic and talk to them, and all of a sudden they were really awkward and such. So I started using that. Then when we moved together and I bought the PS4 and such, I incorporated that username for myself, which is also linked to my wife, of course. So I've used it ever since. I think it's I've used it myself about 14 years now. And I don't play games that much anymore, but whenever I play games, I do use the same username as well. And it's also a good conversation starter, you know. It makes people assume things, but it's a good conversation starter because it is an unusual name, and especially when you hear and see me, that doesn't really match if it makes sense. Who's your favorite team? In ice hockey or football? Ice hockey, Pittsburgh Penguins. In soccer, football, it would still be Barcelona, even though I haven't watched Barcelona in a while. I've been a Barcelona fan ever since Patrick Kluivert and Marco Overmars played there. The original Ronaldo played there as well, R9, sorry. And I think Pep Guardiola used to be a defender there, 97, 98. Ever since then, I was a Barcelona fan. If you stop getting violations, I'll stop fun. Restart the live and see if the gift thing resets. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Donald uses name Pippi. It will reset at some point, probably. All right, let's have a last update. Did Trump actually wake up? Did you see anything from Donald today? Trump has been really quiet for the past 2 days, considering usually when his things happening like this. Okay, this is not normal behavior, though. Okay. Within the last hour, his Truth Social tweeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 times. And out of those 17, over 10 is about the State of the Union speech. TikTok is hard, isn't it? Like YouTube, TikTok likes ban. Like, I'll quickly show you guys. So this is Truth Social. And this is the newest one, which is State of the Union. And this is about immigration. Then State of the Union, 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 State of the Union. These are unrelated. Lady Gaga's father endorses Donald Trump in 2024. Okay, cool story, bro. Like, I don't think he lives in like the same reality as us. Lady Gaga's father endorsed Donald Trump in 2024. Trump declares Angel Family Day for victims of migrant crime. Trump torches sick Democrats who ignore Americans murdered by illegal immigrants. Praise from the president. Joe Abruzzo says Trump cares for Palm Beach County. Okay. Bob Unanue. President Donald J. Trump will cement himself as the greatest president in the history of this country. Our country was destined for destruction and he's turning it around. This is history in the making. No one has ever done what he's doing, including on the world stage. Do Europeans dislike Trump? We dislike the... I wouldn't say like all Europeans. Of course, I can't talk to like for all Europeans. Trump is fighting the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies. That is a good thing. That is a really good thing. I've been talking about any US president and elected politician should have started that fight all the way back on 2007 when I was in business school. That was my first time actually like becoming aware of it and thinking like, what the fuck is going on? Why is no one fighting the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies and also Wall Street? So that is a good thing. But a lot of Europeans are kind of worried how much Trump is making the world more unstable. Because a lot of Americans don't understand it, but whatever Trump does affects like the global markets and other foreign countries as well. Dislike is there. I mean, I try to be polite. There are people who hate Trump. Hate is a bit of a too strong of a word for me. I would rather have somebody else as president than Donald Trump. I don't agree with Trump like with a lot of things. Oh, please, Biden give poor insulin and Trump takes... yeah, I know that. I know. And also the pharmaceutical companies are pushing back. But I'm going to still say that fighting against the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies should be a #1 priority for everybody. They are literally bankrupting US citizens. It is criminal. It is fucking criminal. I give you 1,500% discount. But then Trump is sharing tweets that praises his State of the Union. How narcissistic do you have to be? You're literally retweeting people who are praising your State of the Union. Why? Can someone explain to me why? I don't fucking understand that. But when we try to, the world loses their mind. It gets him through the day. Like literally, that's really weird behavior. Although I don't think that's Trump. I don't think that's Trump. I think that's the interns that Trump has. That's also something that a lot of people, I think more people should be worried about, that Trump is using interns to tweet about foreign policies and to foreign leaders, as well as banks. Chandis, thanks for the follow. So I'm kind of worried that maybe, because it's Sunday, have we seen him type any of these tweets? Hey, I can see Golden Boxing Club. Thanks, Dendy. You can donate me gifts again. I am free from the suspension. The appeal went through. The governor, thanks for the follow. East Coast Dawn, thanks for the roses. But Sunday is a golf day, though. Sunday is a golf day. So, Kyriamuni, yeah, exactly. Usually when I appeal, TikTok doesn't really do anything. Trump has auto social media, Biden had autopen. This is a wild thing. We're talking about autopen. Do you remember? Oh my God, I don't like. It was that one press conference after Venezuela. Yeah, the press conference after Venezuela. Somebody asked Trump about some executive order that he signed. And Trump said that he doesn't even read those things. It's the people behind me who decides them. And then they asked Rubio the same thing, and Rubio said that, no, it's not me, it's somebody else that does them. Who the fuck is those people behind Trump and Rubio that brings those legislations and executive orders to Trump, that Trump doesn't read them himself? By the way, I love you officially. I mean, thanks. I love you as well. But that is something like, okay, Joe Biden had autopen. That is like, I think presidents should read everything. But if you have a shadow counsel that you don't even know what half of the things they bring up to you, I think that's as bad. Biden definitely was not all there. No. I would say the first 6 months to 3/4 of the year of his term. I would give that much, because the first 6 months of Biden's term, he was there. I would even extend that to like the first year, but the last 3 years there was a bit of a steep decline. But at the same time, if you compare Trump's first term, 2016 to 2020, he was way more sharp and he didn't slur any words, and he was like, he could actually be the Trump everybody knows. But Trump's second term, he's kind of like Biden was for the last 3 years. So I'm seeing Trump's like decline going as well. The same we saw with Biden. The State of the Union, 8 years will do that, 100%. The State of the Union was a good example. We talked about it yesterday. If you watched the State of the Union and you thought that Trump did well, you didn't pay attention. Watch it again. Well, I don't want to keep viewerships to Trump, but watch clips of it again, and you will see that Trump was struggling constantly of remembering what to say, reading, speaking, and even like keeping your thoughts together. What do you think of our open borders we have had? Do you think this sleep cell we have came then? I mean, that's the thing, like, if you think about it, like, we can't really be sure when the sleeper cells came in. Far from it. Trump is doing a great job bringing us back from the depth of hell under Biden. Okay. Cool story, bruh. He's 82 years old. No, he's not. He's 79. He has dropped. He's 79 years old. He's turning 80 this year, right? Depths of hell, good one. I mean, that is the delusion a lot of like MAGA, like USA wasn't in the depths of hell or a dead country before Trump came, like Trump's second term started. Year after year, every year, USA is doing better than the previous year. 79, you're right. You know how I know that? Because I had a video like a month ago talking about Trump's age. So he's no control of his bowels, but he's able to articulate hate. We were much better than today. I mean, but the USA wasn't in the depths of hell on Biden's era, like end of Biden's era. To be fair, when COVID hit, a lot of countries were in the depths of hell, but that's because a lot of countries needed to adapt really fast, and that cost a lot of money. But every year, United States is literally, like, if we're talking about economy, doing better. God may need to send another plague. Like, Trump is always shitting on Biden's inflation. But it doesn't really hold if you look at what the inflation was when Trump took office. The difference between that inflation percent and today's is about 1 to 1.4%. So, yes, it has declined, but it's not a free fall. It's not that big of a difference. We just watched it live like literally 2 days ago. Biden was the biggest joke as a president. Flyboy? No. No, he wasn't. I have to say that there is only one big joke of a president. Biden was a bad president. He wasn't a joke president, though. There is one president who's a walking, talking, fucking caricature of a joke. And that is George W. Bush Jr. You thought I was gonna say Trump. No, the Trump is kind of a joke as well. George W. Bush Jr. was literally a fucking joke. I think half of the time he didn't even know he was the president. Trump is your daddy. No. I think the... Okay, I shouldn't say that. Biden wasn't running anything. It was Obama. Well, to be fair, Trump isn't running anything. It's those foreign interest groups and also his donors. Also Saudis. So all the presidents are corrupt. What's your fucking angle there? The same interest groups that are whispering in Obama's ear, who were whispering in George W. Bush's ear, who was whispering in Biden's ear, those are the same interest groups that are whispering in Trump's ear. That is the thing that a lot of people don't want to hear. Like CEOs. Industrial military complex is one of them. But that is kind of a like internal issue that the United States have. They need to have foreign wars, so they spend money on military, and they need to update their military. If they don't do that, the economy would get hit quite badly. That is the issue that United States at some point needs to get rid of. United States' economy requires United States having those proxy wars going on all the time. Those conflicts in the world going all the time. And their military spending increasing all the time. Imagine that. If that money would be spent on something else, there's a lot of good you could do with that money that you spend on military. But unfortunately, the system that's been created, it's been a long time. I would say like 4 decades ago. It requires you to have those conflicts going all the time. That's a bullshit statement. It's not. Literally. You are free because of us. What freedom do you claim? That's not true at all. The last great GOP president made warning about military industrial complex. But there is not that many presidents who use diapers. Men should step down. If we don't spend money on our forces, we could be under communism. Come on, flyboy. I think we are quite far away from the Red Scare. If you believe that propaganda still, you might want to read some books and, I don't know, go outside and touch some grass. Like, Red Scare is such a fucking old thing that nobody should believe that bullshit anymore. Oh my god, that's literally like, if we don't spend money on our forces, we could be under communism. If we don't spend money on our forces, we could be under communism. Israeli nuclear power plant destroyed by Iran missiles. What? Israel's reactor and nuclear facilities were attacked by Fatah and Kuiper missiles. Dimona nuclear facility has been destroyed. Let's check if that's true. Let's see if that's true. Nope. No information yet. Am I watching Heavy Metal Gordon Ramsay? Hell yeah. How will our warfighters make money if no military? I mean, have you thought about another career than being in the military? Our forefathers and grandfathers fought to protect us for this reason, protect us from... Oh my god. Mirror Mania, and you're one of them. Have a think about how dangerous your mothers were. I think I've said this before and I've said it like multiple times. I think all the world leaders should be women. I think I would rather bet on like women being more rational and better, not starting new wars and killing, than men, because of the track record that men have. This is a nice little hot take here. I've said this many times, so a lot of my chatters would know my opinion about this. Let's try and find that. They would be worse. Explain yourself. That was a joke, okay. Iran missile system are accurate. They fly well and yelling never hit the target. And us peasants are supporting the billionaires. How effed up is that? That is also a topic that I've had many discussions about here in the chat, and this is also something that a lot of people also agree on, which is, you guys, there's 140 in TikTok, and there's multiple others in YouTube and Twitch. Everybody who's here in the chat, myself included, we are the same. We are normies. You know? Instead of dividing each other, instead of fighting each other, which is something that the ruling class, the billionaires, the CEOs, the lobbyists, the foreign interest groups, the politicians, they want us to be divided because that way they can manipulate us better. They can handle, they can control us. So instead of being divided, we should unify and understand that you are not my enemy. I am not your enemy. Our enemy is somewhere else. We are on the same boat. You think they give a fuck about us? They don't. They care about themselves, their donors, their families, who are not you. They would instantly throw you to the wolves if you step out of line. We are the same. There are currently 32 women leaders around the world. They have not started wars and are not divided. Exactly. Case in point. Do any Republicans care that Trump killed our soldiers? If we're really unified, we could live in peace, but power is as strong and will divide people. I hope that it's not probably gonna happen in my lifetime, which is sad, but then again, if I know that it's gonna happen with my daughter's lifetime, that's more than enough. I'm willing to fight for the next generation, that they will have a time where instead of being divided, we are unified. Instead of working yourself to death, you can actually enjoy life. Your life shouldn't be all about work. Your life should be experiencing life and spending it with people you like and love. At the moment, for example, what the Reform Party is doing in the UK, one of the stupidest things Nigel Farage has ever said, which is they are trying to make a law that forces people back to offices from working from home. Well, that's kind of makes sense because Nigel Farage's donors and benefactors own those office spaces. So they want people to use them because they make money. So he has somebody whispering that, hey, you need to do this because otherwise that makes no fucking sense. People are more happy, less depressed, spending more time with their families. They are living more. And then there are asshats like Nigel Farage, who has lobbyists who owns those office spaces, wanting people to have less time with their family, wanting them to be more miserable, more mental illnesses. If we could all travel and enjoying our life cultures. What am I? Did I miss Alisa C? Do you all know that Bindi was a lobbyist for 4 years? I like that asshat is international expression. Oh no, Biden did not. Do you know 68 dies under DHE? Then they have no resources for those people. I am getting more and more after I get my Irish citizenship. Like, more and more having discussion with people like outside our community and in our county and other places. More and more I'm inclining that I might one day maybe be involved in politics. Because I want my daughter turned 16 today. My daughter has a 16th birthday. Well, of course, it's almost 10 o'clock here in Ireland. But like, I am so devastated that they don't see a proper future because the older generations has fucked up the country so that they will never have enough money to move out and experience life. And that is devastating. Like, they literally, unless you're born with a silver spoon up your ass, you will stay with your parents until you're 30. And that is not because of immigrants. that is not because of mass migration, because that is quite small here in Ireland. But even if it wasn't, that is because the landlords and powerful businessmen lobby the two ruling bodies that has been in power for decades. The same two ruling parties. And that needs to be... Those two ruling parties should never be in Congress anymore. Well, not in Congress, but in Parliament anymore. That's what we do in Colombia until you get married. I can tell you what I did when I was 15. I moved out of my home. My rent was 450 euros in Finland. I went to study in a different city, and it was 450 euros. Now even in Finland, like, it's getting harder and harder for youth to move out. So what do we do worldwide? Voting doesn't work. Uprising, revolution, clean slate. Clean slate is something that is required in a lot of places that we like to pretend that we have democracy. General strike is one thing as well. Do you agree to take IRGC refugee if Iran goes democratic? I don't care who comes here and who doesn't. Like, in the neighborhood I live in, like, there's literally so many nationalities. I don't care where they're from. I literally don't know half of them when they're from, because that is something that I give zero fucks about. When I'm interacting with people, when I see people in the streets, I don't think like, where's that person from? Or if I'm having a conversation with them, if they don't bring it up, I don't care where you're from. You're a human being like me, and we can have a discussion, whatever the discussion topic is. So where your question about IRCG refugees from Iran, yeah, bring it on. I don't care. They're human like us. And that's one thing that I'm super, super, super proud of. Today is my 75th year's birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter. Happy birthday, Moonbeam 51. So this is what I'm really proud of. Both of my daughters, my oldest one turned 16 today, and my youngest one is 9. That they inherited or learned or picked up, because I've never taught them literally any of the politics or anything. They just see how I treat people, how I communicate with people. They see how me and my wife interact with other people. We have never taught these things, because they suck the information like sponges. And my daughter is a good my younger daughter is a good example, because like when he's explaining a new classmate or somebody like this, it is really hard for an old-timer like me to try and understand which one she's talking about, because she doesn't even like, when she's a girl and she has this and this, she has long hair, like the things that normal people here in Ireland, which is the first thing the Irish people say is like, whether it's white or black. I don't know why, but that's literally like white, black, brown, like local citizens here in this city, town that I live in. But my daughter doesn't use skin color. My daughter doesn't describe people based on their skin color. And it's really rare for me to hear someone explain it differently. I am super proud of my daughters. And also, like, they talk to everyone, like, literally. And they do the same thing as I. Like, they don't care where they're from. They don't care, like, what their religious background is. They don't care what their sexual orientation is. Like, they don't care, because those things doesn't change who you are, you know? What do they consider brown? And Irish consider brown like Indian. I have Indian friends and they really fucking hate it when they're called brown. Wait. I haven't. When I lived in Arizona, skin color was used a lot and not as much here in New England. I haven't been seeing in your lives lately, so glad to see you are still here. I am still here. They are global citizens. Like, I'm Hispanic and we are considered brown. I like, it would be the same, like, this is, if we take a super racist person and we put like people with different skin tones, they would get fucked up in Europe, because like if you take people from Spain, Italy, Croatia, if you take people from Ukraine, Finland, Iceland, all of these, they wouldn't know what happens. Like I met a local old timer. I think he was like in his 60s, 70s, super fucking racist, and he was describing that he doesn't like people from Africa. My colleague next to me was from Morocco. Born and raised from Morocco. And I saw his eyebrows being raised and I was like, hey, you might want to pump your brakes there, because my colleague here is from Africa. And he looked at him and said, no, he can't be Africa. Like, you must be like South African because you're quite white. And he was like, no, I'm from Morocco. Then he was like, what? And then my friend, I told my friend, like, let's get the fuck out, because I didn't feel comfortable in that conversation. Do you see racism from other people who come from different countries? 100%. 100 fucking %. It's not just like like Irish people. Like, of course, Irish people are kind of like vague because you can have an Irish citizen and not being born in Ireland. But racism is everywhere, and it's because like it's kind of like it's taught up by your parents. It's generational. I've been talking about like racism in Finland, which is something that a lot of people don't understand, but Finland is super, super racist. And it's so fucking casual. I'm not saying that it's the most racist place, but it is super casual there. So if you go to Finland, for example, you might be quite shocked how casual it is. We have so many different slang words and terminology. And this is something as well, like, now I'm talking about myself. I used to be a piece of shit when I was way younger. Like, I used to be a conspiracy theorist when I was younger, like over a decade ago, like almost 2 decades ago. And that's how old I was. I was also racist. I was brought up racist. Like, back then I used to use the N-word. Because that was something that you could actually like see in children's playground games and children's card games and such. But I was a piece of shit back then. Do you know what happened? I grew up. I started talking to a lot of different people from different backgrounds. I started reading more about world, about politics. I started to travel. I started to meet people. And my worldview widened. And then when I came back to Finland and back to like among people who I used to spend time with, I realized what fucking hatred they had. And I didn't have that hatred anymore. You know, you abandoned your upbringing. That is true. Because I was so angry all the time. I was so angry all the time for everybody. I was blaming Albanians, I was blaming the fucking Swedes, I was blaming all different ethnicities and countries, and I was just filled with hate all the time. And after, I noticed that I didn't have that boiling hate inside me. You know? And that's why I'm really proud that my daughters haven't gone down that road. I got rid of the, like, it's really hard to describe unless you've been to Finland. But like, homophobia again, like among men is super casual as well. Racism and homophobia. And nowadays, like more and more with the young people, there's a lot of Islamophobia. Sisu is a good movie. But like, none of us are perfect. I have that dark history, but I try my best not to like revert back to that. I've done quite well for the past like almost 2 decades. And I'm really happy that I've brought up like 2 human beings who don't have the same upbringing as I did. I came from a poor family, like piss poor family. And of course I saw a lot of that stuff. And that was like, I saw what language was used in the household and in the neighborhoods and everything. So that just like caught up quite easily. And then one day I just realized that that's not appropriate. So, and I'm really happy I can provide my daughters a bit of a better life and experience. What will they do next? US, Iran, Israel, Russia, China. I don't think Russia and China should be involved in that list of countries. Trump says war on Iran could last 4 weeks. US President Donald Trump says the military operation against Iran may take up 4 weeks. It's always been a 4-week process. We figure it will be 4 weeks or so, he told British newspaper The Daily Mail in his latest of several interviews with media outlets. As strong as it is, it's a big country. It'll take 4 weeks or less. So it's going to be 6 months. Yeah, if you say 2 weeks or 4 weeks or any sort of like number, it's you can multiply that by 10 at least. So now he's saying it's going to be 4 weeks. It's going to be 6 months. Draft Dodger doesn't mind getting our men and women killed as long as he looks tough. It was 12 days last time. Putin said 2 weeks with Ukraine. Trump also said that the healthcare plan was 2 weeks away in 2016. And technically he still doesn't have that. 2 weeks is a long time for Trump. Sometimes it lasts 10 years. Blackbow, thanks for the follow, and Alvin as well. Why not Russia? I like Russia wanted the nuclear watchdog of UN to meet up on Monday. Nokia 330, thanks for the follow. Still no health plan. Still no health plan. Of course, our Congress votes against it. I mean, he really didn't have a proper healthcare plan, though. He didn't really have a healthcare plan. His healthcare plan was like, destroy Obamacare, that's it. Provide the money directly to the citizens. Unfortunately, if you followed how capitalism and how prices work, if a government gives more money or tax breaks to citizens, corporations and companies increase the prices because citizens would have more spending money so they can increase the prices. That's capitalism 101. That's, for example, why in Finland, when they're pushing for like tax breaks and such, the reaction for those always is prices go up. I've seen that live so many times because Finland has a pure like fake Republican party that is not as like bad as the Republicans, but still like super corporate, super capitalistic. And they've done that so many times and fucked up so many prices. Decrease the taxes. Oh, the prices went up. Super surprising. said no one ever. France, Germany, UK ready to take defensive actions against Iran. What the hell? 6 wounded in Iranian ballistic missile strike on West Jerusalem. The Israeli ambulance service says its crew are treating a man in his 50s in moderate condition and 5 others who were lightly injured at the scene of the impact. According to the Israeli media, footage of the incident shows the Iranian missile's impact created a large crater on a road and damaged a car. Here we go again. Tax cuts for the rich first and only priority in the GOP administration. They still... how many of you believe in trickle-down economics? Is there anyone in the chat who actually believes trickle-down economics? I hope there's none. But there are still people in politics in the United States who are advocating for that and also praising for that, which is dangerous because that doesn't work. I believe in trickle up. Republicans don't want to fix it though. They want to vibe it out and they don't want us to have any. Seriously, you go play child very, very happy. What? Makes no sense. I want to see... Okay, Jerusalem was hit, but I'm more interested in about the nuclear power plant destroyed. And I'm still seeing nothing. There is no credible sources of the nuclear power plant being hit. What about now? What is the UK doing? They're ready to defend, which makes no sense, but... France, Germany, UK ready to take defensive action against Iran. France, Germany, and the United Kingdom say they are ready to defend their interests and those of allies in the Gulf if necessary by taking defensive actions against Iran. The 3 countries' leaders are appalled by the indiscriminate and disproportionate missile attack launched by Iran against countries in the region. Go fuck yourself. That is such a weak fucking statement. Wait a minute, trickle-down economy didn't work in the United States in the 80s. Is that what you were? Yeah, it doesn't work. Why did none of European countries call out Israel, US during UN meeting? They are weak. Because USA has a emotional toddler as their leader. So EU leaders know to shut their mouths so that they don't make Donnie mad. Because Donald can't take criticism, you know? It did work. I live here, it worked. You're completely uninformed of the 80s in the United States. Oh my fucking god. You think trickle-down economics work? No, Gizmo said that. Gizmo thinks that trickle-down economics work. Oh my god. I thought in the year 2026, there would be no person who knows how to read that would still believe that trickle-down economics work. Maybe he means it was successful for the rich. That could be. Maybe he's one of those super rich people. Iran has attacked Cyprus. There is UK NATO base, so that's why they are ready to action to... Yeah. Lip chart math will never work. Our reading comprehension skills in this country are very challenged. I mean, Gizmo, can I make a prediction? What is your state that you live in the United States? I think you're from Alabama, or you might be from Mississippi. Did Bibi flee to Germany? Bibi Netanyahu did flee to Germany. So, do we have Gizmo still here? I would say I'm from Mississippi. Hey, no shade on anybody who's from Alabama or Mississippi, though. Sorry for anybody who's from there, but... Trickle-down economics, also known as supply-side economics, has not demonstrably worked in the United States in the way its proponents claim, meaning large tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations leading to broad-based economics growth, job creation, rising wages for the middle class, and eventual benefits trickling down to everyone. It has never worked. It was popularized in the 1980s by fucking Ronald Reagan, but the middle class never got any benefit from it. Lady P, thanks for the follow. Yogis, thanks for the follow. Thank God I don't trade stocks, man. United Arab Emirates said that they're going to close stocks for 2 days. It was actually the worst in the 1980s. When we measure like everything. Post 1980s it worked a bit, but then you had the stock crash in early 1990s, which kind of fucked up everything anyways. Yeah, so example of 1980s is actually the worst example to give. Does bombing Iran and what? Make America great again. That is something that I would really want to also hear from people, like, how is bombing Iran making America great again? Can you please tell me why all these actions in this time? Greenland, Iran, well, Venezuela, oil. Iran, Israel and oil. Greenland, natural resources, probably. Mexico, oil. Canada, oil. Colombia, cocaine for Donald Jr. Honduras, cocaine for Donald Jr. as well. Probably El Salvador at some point, cocaine for Donald Jr. Don Jr. goes through so much cocaine that he needs a steady supplier. That's why they released Hernandez, the fucking truck kingpin that was a part of the conspiracy to provide 400 tons of cocaine to the USA. That's why they pardoned him. Because they needed that drug kingpin to be the provider of cocaine to Mar-a-Lago. Cocaine for who? Don Jr. Trump's son. Venezuela was shipping a ton of oil to China, and that is US's business how. Venezuela is a sovereign country, then they can do business with whoever they want to. Although they started doing business with something else than US dollar, which is a good reason for USA to go spread democracy. Where are you getting a data, sir? About Don Jr. using cocaine. I don't know, just making fun. Don Jr. looks like he's using cocaine. If you think about it, like, if you go back in history, like, Gizmo, this is a good thing for you because you were, like, an adult in the 80s, so you probably remember. But during the 2000s, when Iraq war was starting, Iraq started doing oil business with something else than US dollar. The same thing happened in Libya, in Syria, and also happened in Afghanistan. And then it happened in Venezuela. And I wonder if Iran was threatening to start doing oil business with something else than the US dollar. But usually, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it looks like a duck, it probably is a fucking duck. I wonder what country you're from. Well, make a guess. Make a wild fucking guess. Come on, Gizmo, you can do it. Don Jr. has been seen using cocaine. It's been caught on video, but like, proof doesn't mean anything to Gizmo unless it comes from Alex Jones and InfoWars. Lizard people are real. Yeah, I know, Damone, you know that I'm from Finland, but... Would it be the country that exterminated more people than any other country? You mean Soviet Union? That doesn't exist anymore. I think Gizmo thinks that Germany is the leading, like, exterminator of the world, but I'm not German either. I'm Finnish. But I'm pretty sure Gizmo's knowledge of history is quite wrong. If you think Germany exterminated the most people, that's actually the Soviet Union, to be fair. By quite a large margin. And if you don't know that, I recommend opening a history book. Yeah, Gizmo, but here you can see that I've read about global politics and history quite a lot. I know that Germany isn't the #1 exterminator of people. It is Soviet Union and Stalin, of course. And that extermination that Stalin did eventually became his downfall. If you didn't know, Stalin also sent a lot of the top doctors to Gulag, to those prison camps in Siberia, and executed them. And the ones that were left were really bad doctors. So when he had that stroke, first of all, his guards didn't have the balls to open the door, because you don't have permission and then you get killed if you do that, because you need Stalin's permission for everything. And when they were calling the doctors to, like, provide medical service to Stalin, who just had a fucking stroke, they didn't know if they can call the doctors, because if Stalin was fixed, then those doctors aren't bad and they would be killed. And if they wouldn't fix Stalin, they would be shot anyways. So they had a bit of a dilemma. Stalin created that, like, circle of death around him, that people were, like, even his inner circle was terrified. Molotov's wife is a good example. Molotov, who was one of Stalin's, like, loyalists, didn't say shit when his wife was sent to Gulag, because he was having anti-socialist ideas. For your information, Trump is speaking on CNN right now. Wait for me, Trumpy! Where the fuck can I find this? Come on. I don't have a lot. Don't we have a live update? Watch. BBC News. Say no more.
Earlier today, CENTCOM shared.
Ah, shut the fuck up. That's not it. I think the interview is over.
Earlier today, CENTCOM
Mubarak,
shared
thanks
the
for the follow.
news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We pray for the full
Sunal,
recovery
thanks for the
of the
follow.
wounded.
Is it
and
really World
send
War III or
our
just theater?
immense
It's not
love
World War
and
III yet.
eternal gratitude to the
Doris
families
Bosses,
of
thanks for the follow as well.
the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war.
Oh my fucking, like, can you guys hear that? My ears are hypersensitive for Trump, but can you guys hear that? He's again slurring words.
War against basically civilization. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been
Mets maybe.
attacking the United States while chanting the
Pardon needs to
slogan,
go and fight for
"Death
his
to
daddy.
America" or "Death to Israel."
Yeah, I think like if you this is kind of grim, but this is also truthful. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia would end the war instantly if you send all of the Kremlin people's sons and daughters to the front line, and all the oligarch billionaires. All the oligarch billionaires is like children to the front line. Russia would withdraw their troops immediately. The same would happen in Iran here now. If you send Bibi's family and like Israeli politicians and US politicians' children there would be no war. There would be no aggression. They wouldn't go there. Catherine, thanks for the follow. Trump literally bombed 8 countries in a year. I mean, he's the president of peace, or what? Or was it the president of piss? I'm not too sure about that. President of something. Where are you located? On planet Earth. That's an interesting site. Look at this. So they really thought that killing Ayatollah would end something. So this is in Jerusalem. We gotta worry about the attacks from the inside. Those are probably just aliens. War is business for US and Israel cartel. I mean, they're not gonna stop when Ayatollah was killed. 100% no. They have somebody already, like, taking his place. US is striking Irib, Iran State Broadcasting Headquarters. That was 4 hours ago. Where's my Iran war room monitor? There we go. Hanny, thanks for the follow. We have an Iran war room monitor here. Amazon's cloud unit reports fire after objective hits United Arab Emirates data center. With Iraqi militia attacks on US forces, Iraq edges towards Iran war front. What? Iranian-backed militias have launched a series of drone attacks targeting US bases in Iraq, raising the question, has Iraq become the next frontline in the widening Iran war? Miria, thanks for the follow. Hi, new from California. How do you say your name? It's Alicia. Soleil, thanks for the follow as well. Iranian-backed militias are targeting US forces in Iraq. The Iranian-linked group Saraya Avliya Al-Dam claimed to have targeted American bases in Erbil, the capital of the Kurdistan region of the northern Iraq, on March 1st. Numerous reports in Erbil said they heard explosions in and around the airport. This appears to be how Iran is seeking to expand the war to Iraq. Days prior to the US and Israeli strikes on Iran, there were rising tensions in Iraq. Iraq is a center of Iranian influence. There are tens of thousands of men who are members of Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. In addition, there are many Kurds from Iran who have fled to the Kurdistan region of northern Iraq and who are members of the Iranian dissident groups. I'm not sure this is going to take 4 weeks, guys. US Abraham Lincoln is down. Is it? I mean, it was targeted, but is it down? I'm just an individual making it myself, a couple of AI, so plus support international outside of US. Who sent that Trump was strong? USS Lincoln sank. We need confirmation on that. Just a second. There. UK has joined US and Israel. The USS Abraham Lincoln CVN-72 has not sunk. Iranian claims Iran's Islamic Revolution Guard Corps IRGC stated on the March 1st, 2026 that they have launched 4 ballistic missiles at the USS Abraham Lincoln in retaliation for US-Israeli strikes. US denies and evidence. The US Central Command, CENTCOM, and Pentagon have categorically denied any hits, stating that the Lincoln was not hit. The missiles launch didn't even come close. The carrier continues to launch aircraft in support of operations. No verified evidence, photo, satellite imagery, independent reports support Iranians' claims of damage or sinking. So as of now, it's still floating. It's crazy how people descend into cheering for child abusers and warmongers. Are we talking about the United States? Do you see how Trump cares about people of Iran? He need to put down. Yeah, US ship is sinking because Atlantis is need for some freedom. If they found oil in Atlantis, yeah, definitely. They need some democracy there. Don't mess with Persians. I mean, Alexander the Great messed with Persians, though. Could some of these actions by Iran be false flag operations, as in making it look like they did it? They need, yeah, Corbin Dallas, 100%. Like, if they want regime change in Iran, they definitely need boots on the ground. And then, of course, like, this is another fucking Iraq 2.0. So then it's just like, America's use, he needs to mean, I want. Doings, come on, don't be delusional. Airborne strikes will never be enough. See how well it worked in Afghanistan. Taliban in charge again. If USA wants regime change, they definitely do need boots on the ground. And unfortunately, that's going to be an Iraq situation for the Iranians. Justin, thanks for the follow. It's crazy how people want a dictator like in Iran. No one wants that. But Iran has multiple who are as worse or even worse than Ayatollah, who can take his place. In my opinion, every single dictator should be put to Hague and trial for war crimes. Put Putin there, Netanyahu, everybody. Kim Jong-un, like, literally, all the dictators there. Let's be consistent. Of course, I will already suspect that there are going to be people who are going to say that Netanyahu doesn't belong in that group. But every single one, all the dictators, all the war criminals should be put to trial for crimes against humanity and war crimes. Is Abraham Lincoln sunk? As of the most recent information from Pentagon and US intelligence, no. But Iran is saying that they sunk it. This is another one of those, until we get images or like satellite images, we can't really know. But the most up-to-date information and also the most reliable source would be Pentagon, of course. Catherine Garbus, thanks for the heart. Strait of Hormuz is closed now. US economy is in trouble. I think it's going to hit a lot of other places more than US. Like, even though it's 20% of the world's oil comes from there. But it's going to be impacting India quite a lot, because I think it was like 80% of oil that India is importing is coming from the Middle East. And it's coming from the Straits of Hormuz. So it's going to impact India quite a lot. Netanyahu is hero in Iran. Okay. Oh my god, no, it's not. I mean, that's the best fucking joke ever. Oh, sorry. I tried to keep it in, but no. Netanyahu is definitely not a fucking hero in Iran. I have to say, though, don't joke, Iran loves Israel. Netanyahu isn't Israel. Netanyahu is a war criminal and a horrible person. I believe the people of Israel isn't that. Netanyahu has some sick joy of killing women and children. I don't believe all Israelis believe that. Rashid Ratha, thanks for the follow. Well, briefly talking about Netanyahu. It's going to be interesting to follow the court case of Netanyahu, because if he gets sentenced and convicted of security breaches, which is allowing October the 7th to happen, because the allegations is that he actually made it so, and he knew beforehand, and he made it so that they don't react to it. So they let it happen. That's the first allegation. And the second one was that through Qatar, he was funding Hamas. If those allegations are true, Netanyahu is fucked. Not only is Netanyahu fucked, but that will make the whole Israeli government fucked. But that's something that I like. It's going to happen this year. Maybe. Trump is trying his utmost to ask for the president to pardon Netanyahu, even though he doesn't have a sentence yet. He's not convicted. So you can't really pardon a person before you get a fucking conviction or you're sentenced. Trump tells Iranians to rise up. America is with you. I call up all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize the moment to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. Netanyahu will meet Moses. Guess what's happened? Trump is the new Jesus, so his pardons are absolute everywhere. Al Jazeera totally biased. Yes, because reporting that Trump tells Iranians to rise up is fucking biased news. True. Al Jazeera is really good when you, especially the English version of Al Jazeera, whenever there's things happening in the Middle East, because they have a lot of different reporters on the ground, and you can get like upmost news. They are not necessarily truthful. For example, the USS Lincoln that we just talked about. Al Jazeera reported it as well, but after fact checking, that's not truthful. So BH1935 in YouTube, you shouldn't believe any one source. That's why I have this beauty, which is Iran Monitor. I can show it to the TikTok chat as well. This was from Corbin Dallas yesterday, I think. Provided us a war room that finds anything to do with Iran, which I have on my third monitor open. It is a handy. I mean, I'm still not sure if this is like safe to use, but at least it's categorizing everything. All the tweets about Iran, all the social media posts, everybody who's live about Iran. I wonder if I'm not there. That's kind of sad. How can I get myself there? We can see the victims from here. Petitions, protests. Ireland. There's a spontaneous victory solidarity gathering today in Ireland, Dublin. I'm on the other side of Ireland, though. You can find everything. You anti-Sami. What? What is anti-Sami? Is that like a person who is anti-Sami, which is Sami is either the original people of Finland or a name in Finland? Him is anti-Semite. No. How would I be anti-Semite? Does anybody think that I'm an anti-Semite when I'm criticizing Netanyahu? PH, thanks for the sub. Trump is pro-salami. Does Finland like Iran? I mean, Finland is kind of on the side of like protests, like revolutions and such. I think Trump will back off and he will say something. Like, I have nothing against religions, even though I am an atheist myself. Whenever I'm talking about Israel's government, I am talking about Netanyahu and Israel's governments. So from time to time, I do like reiterate that I'm not talking about the people of Israel, and I'm not talking about the Jewish community or like people who believe in Judaism. It's the same thing when I'm talking about Russia. When I'm criticizing Kremlin and Putin, I'm not criticizing the Orthodox Christianity. I'm not criticizing the people of Russia. When I'm talking about United States, I'm not criticizing the Catholic Church of Christianity either. When I'm talking about, when I'm talking about Iran, I'm not criticizing the whole religion of Islam. When I'm talking about Modi and India, I'm not criticizing Hinduism. You know, I differentiate religion, people, government and the people in power. It was good meeting you. Gonna start dinner barbecue chicken. Hey, thanks for dropping by, Damo, and keeping me company. You from? I'm from Finland. And what do you do for a living? I try to keep it as secret as possible, but I do work with an international group of people. I have about 1,500 people around the world that I'm responsible for. Tech company. I don't own the tech company, I'm just responsible for quality. Aren't religious people supporting their governments? That's none of my concern. It's not about Jews. It's not. Finland is Arabic. Oh my fucking god. Rami, come on. You're one of the funniest comedians I've ever seen. You are one of the funniest comedians I've ever seen. Are you a comedian? You're saying Finland is Arabic. Come on. You have to be a troll. I can't really believe that you're a real person. Sorry. So what's your take? Who's gonna win? I don't think there's gonna be a winner in this fight, though. How to connect you in DM? I don't know. There's Discord. You can connect to me there. I don't think there's gonna be a winner in this. I think this is gonna be one of those like Iraq situations again. That there is literally no fucking winner. London is Arabic. Paris is Arabic. No, they're not. Government and religion should always be separated. I do agree. 100% Kyria Moon. You shouldn't mix religion with politics. User, thanks for the follow. Okay, now I know you're a troll. Sorry, Rami. I gave you some chances, but are all about controlling government. Christian Europe forever. I hope atheist Europe is going to be the future. I've seen enough Christians slowing down science and technology. I've seen enough in the history of Christianity and other religions slowing down the progress of humans. So I think like religion should be taken out of like anything public and like corporate wise. It can be your personal thing. Out of politics, out of business. Religion should be only a personal thing. So it doesn't meddle with progress. I don't want religion to be abolished, but religion shouldn't have the power to control economies, shouldn't control politics. Bro, you're still alive? Yeah, still here. I don't know how though, but I'm still here. Rami is in the Epstein files. Religion and government have no business being connected because both lose their purpose. What do you think about Greta Thunberg? I mean, she did a really valuable work in her early careers. I haven't followed her in a while. But as a person who's planted quite a few trees around the world, I think that's something, and I love nature. So I think what Greta did in her early years, it was super valuable for governments and countries around the world to turn more renewable energies, which is again an infinite form of energy that has zero consequences for the environment. Eventually, of course, initially when you build them, it does have some consequences for the environment, but after a while, it is trying to be a net positive. I haven't followed Greta in a while, but I'm a huge fan of like keeping the world habitable for the future generations. She got arrested. Thoughts on the statue of Shiva the destroyer placed in front of the CERN corridor? Isn't that Hindu? That is Hindu. Are you kidding me? Windmills kill millions of bats and birds every year. Do you think windmills are the only fucking renewable energy source? You think windmills are the only? So do home windows, so do cars, so do oil refineries. Yeah, like look up how much oil kills. Actually, windmills or wind turbines don't kill even millions of birds or bats. They're still in the hundreds of thousands. But millions is exaggerated. It is importantly, this number is a small fraction compared to other human-related causes of bird and bat mortality. Most peer-reviewed studies and government sources, for example, US Fish and Wildlife Services, MIT Climate Port, and Albuquerque Society estimate 140,000 to about 680,000 bird deaths per year from collisions with land-based wind turbines, based on data from 2010, with adjustment for growth in wind capacity. More recent extrapolations accounting for increased installations suggest around 200,000 to 1.2 million annually. But that is still not like, that is figures up to. Domestic cats 1.3 to 4 billion birds. Oh yeah, domestic cats kill 1.3 to 4 billion birds per year. Building window collisions 365 million to 988 million birds per year. Vehicle strikes 89 to 340 million birds a year. Power lines electrocution tens of millions. Fossil fuel energy kills far more birds than wind. So literally everything else kills more birds than wind turbines. Everything else kills more birds than wind turbines. Where the fuck is that guy? Blaze Saucer Joy. Everything else kills more birds than wind turbines. And how do you charge your car? Just plug them into a wall where electricity comes from. You can have a solar panel to charge your car. You can have wind energy you can have your own private wind turbine, idiots. And where's electricity come from? Not feasible. It is though. Also, nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is green energy. Nuclear energy is better than fossil fuels. If you're rich, baby. They don't cost that much in Ireland, actually. And also, I don't know, place, do you have an electric car? I do have an electric car, and I can find charging stations that are using renewable energies. So I can select my charging stations that I use based on what type of electricity are they using. Why do you have an electric car? Why wouldn't I have an electric car? Why would I have a gas guzzling car? Magnets don't work underwater. True. And they kill sharks. And where did the batteries come from? Did it make them out of thin air? Oh my fucking god. Place source of joy. Gas is so expensive. Where are you? I mean Ireland. It's so much cheaper to use actually electric cars than gas cars. I don't understand why people aren't using more electric cars though. It's fun to drive a V12. That I do agree with. But it is more... Jacob, I bet your ass. If you try a proper performance electric car, you will see how fun they are. Because the torque is instant. Immediately when you press the gas pedal, you are off to the races. More deaths in electric car accidents than gas car accidents. Do you want to expand that claim? Or do you want to use that? Are we talking about specific accidents? In the USA, there are no enough charging stations. That actually, Dean, that was the argument in Ireland as well. And I can tell you by experience that even Irish people are fed propaganda that there isn't enough charging stations. That is bullshit. There is way more. The claim that there are more deaths in electric cars accidents than in gas internal combustion engines cars is not true. Could you believe that? Reliable data from sources like Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, National Highway Traffic Safety Admin, and various studies show that electric vehicles, EVs, generally have similar or lower fatality and injury rates for occupants compared to gas-powered cars. Surprise, surprise. What's the next myth we can break here? What's the next myth we can break here? Like, but Lisa, you didn't say California. You said like generally. I highly recommend. Hybrid is a good choice as well. Hybrid is a good choice as well. So you're for nuclear power? 100%. Why wouldn't I be? Nuclear power is green power. Nuclear power plants are safe. People are still like super worried that nuclear power plants aren't safe because of Chernobyl and Fukushima. But nuclear power plants are safe. You can even actually build miniature, like mini nuclear power plants. Those are really good as well. Electric bikes are fucking fun. I love them. If only the US would open up their market for the Chinese electric cars, you could have cars that have 1,000-mile range. Although, I have to say, I wouldn't buy an all-electric car if I lived in a cold place. And this investment the nuclear company puts into an area is great. We need more nuclear power. Solar is better than nuclear. Solar uses less land mass because the safe zone of nuclear. I know, like, but nuclear, like, the output of nuclear power plants is unmatched. Do you have a Chinese electric car? Fuck no. I can show you what I have. I love it. I freaking love my car. It's not the same color, but you get the idea. I'll show you guys. Dun, da, da. I have this fucking beast of a car. A Fiat 500 electric. I love it. One of the more, like, I'm Finnish and I love driving. One of the funniest cars to drive. That's the Fiat 500. Fully electric. One of the best cars I've ever driven. Super fun, especially in Ireland. Because you have like really narrow roads and like you have a lot of turns and hills and divots. It fits everywhere. Bored wealthy man, there's a reason I don't have a Tesla. There's a reason why I don't have a Tesla. I would love to have a Tesla, but unfortunately, I don't want to support that guy that is a fucking hypocrite. Elon, yes. What's the range on that single charge? I think it was 260 kilometers. It's not much, but it's enough in Ireland. $260 wouldn't be enough in Finland. I wouldn't buy this car in Finland. I would probably buy a Kia EV6 in Finland. Kias are really fucking good. Like, we had a Kia in Finland. Oh, 355 is the manufacturer number, sorry. I remembered it wrong. But Kias are super good. Highly recommend them. Like Kia EV6. So in Finland you have a V8. No. Fuck no. I used to have a V6 though. V6 Turbo Lexus. But my father had a V8 when I was young. Like, I think it was... Oh, it was a Cadillac. It was a really old... I wonder if it was a Cadillac, though. No, it was a Fleetwood. Pretty sure it was this. It looks the same. So this is what my dad had. He bought it as junk and repaired it. Of course, we didn't have the Swedish flags because I'm Finnish, but... That was nice with the family trips. It literally didn't have wheels and it didn't have interiors. Look, 60s. I think it was from the 60s. It was a Cadillac from the 60s. It had 9 seats in the back seat. So it was a limo. It literally was the motor, the V8 motor, and the chassis that were like intact. It didn't have wheels. The lights were busted. There was no interior. So he just bought that because it cost like a few hundred marks back then. And because he had a biker friend, so they just put it together. Because we were poor, so we couldn't afford cars. So what we got was like junk, and then my father put them together. Fiat openly backed Mussolini's fascist regime. And Volkswagen was created for Hitler. True. But at least Mussolini isn't alive anymore, and Elon Musk is alive, so I would rather choose Fiat. If Elon Musk was dead, and Tesla was still on the market, Tesla would be open game. But unfortunately, Elon Musk is still alive, spouting bullshit, spreading misinformation, disinformation, banning people who disagree with him, banning journalists, suppressing freedom of speech while saying that he's a freedom of speech absolutist. So I don't buy a Tesla. I buy a Fiat 500. Which I fucking love. It's surprisingly spacious because a lot of you guys know that I'm 6'3". I don't necessarily like Italian cars. I don't choose cars based on nationality. We had a Kia, and I really like Kias. Also, I had a Lexus. We had a Volvo, of course. And we've had a lot of different like nationality cars. I mean, of course, Laugi, all of us Nordics know that if you want quality car that lasts decades, you buy a Volvo. Zero Germans, though. That is true. Because everybody who owns a BMW or an Audi is an asshole. And everybody who owns a Mercedes-Benz has a small dick, which doesn't apply to me. So I can't own a Mercedes-Benz. So we can't really have German cars. You know? Isn't that good reasoning? Have you noticed some timers which Iran has sent? My family is so Volvo fanatic I'm culturally damaged. But Volvos are really good cars though. Like Volvos are really, really reliable, good cars. Super expensive here in Ireland. So every time I see somebody with a Volvo here in Ireland, I know that they are like carrying, you know? Volvos are safe, reliable. They are literally indestructible. Super comfortable to drive. They can drive 600k and still drive fine. 100%. You got nice long hair. Thanks. But literally, every time I see somebody fucking up in the traffic here in Ireland, same thing in Finland and everywhere I've been, it's usually a BMW driver or an Audi driver. It's either one. It's either anyone who's driving an Audi, they don't know how to use lights. They don't also know how stop signs work. And I'm pretty sure, based on my studies, that BMWs don't have signals. They don't have turning signals at all. I've never seen a BMW use a turn signal. Never. Neither do Mercedes. That is true. That is true. That is true. I'm pretty sure it's a German thing. Because, you know, they used to... Before... I think they changed something after the Second World War when they were doing cars, because they used to just, like, show with their hands that they're turning left or right. But all of a sudden, after the Second World War, they really couldn't lift their hand on a 45-degree angle. So they couldn't do this anymore, so they just stopped using turn signals altogether. It's the user, not the machine. Sorry, that was a bit of a low blow for Germans. My wife is partially German, so... No wonder your life and relationships doesn't work. What you mean? I've been happily married for 10 years. Well, 11 this year. And we've been together for way, way longer than that. I have 2 beautiful daughters. Everything works. Like, I'm doing quite fine, Kevin. Thanks. Janelle, thanks for the follow. And Dovodan Osman, thanks for the follow as well. Let's take the last update about Iran, and then we'll call it a day and continue tomorrow, probably. They need to add more blinker fluid. It's also why they don't stock groceries so high in the super... Exactly, Laugi. Exactly. EU reinforces Red Sea naval mission with 2 French ships. Iran evacuates Tehran's Kandi hospital. Nurses working at hospital in Tehran's Kandi Street area have begun evacuating patients to witnesses told Reuters news agency. And not that many updates. Jerusalem is getting bombarded still. I have German screwdriver in the shed, so I have a free pass. Yeah, my wife is like German heritage, so I get a pass as well. All right, hey, this was a great stream. And we had some good conversation, and there was a lot of people here, and like there was a lot of new people. Then of course we have our usuals here, which I already start to like recognize better and better, even though more and more people we have here, the more comments we usually have. But I do appreciate every single one of you. And we'll be back. Because news don't take breaks, so we can't take breaks as well. So, stay safe, especially those who are in the United States. We do remember that there were 2 mass shootings today and a mass stabbing. So stay safe in the United States. And call your loved ones if they're in Austin or Ohio or Virginia, just to make sure that they're okay. And hope to see you guys again. And yeah, have a great evening, night, morning, wherever you are. Love you guys. Take care.